Dalid Adar II, Hatavshin Samech Samech Vav, page Kufnun base Kufnun Gimel.
Right, so we saw the Aveda of the Shoyi, which comes mitzad the Sheres of the Nefesh and Atzek Seif. And we saw that was the quality of the Nefesh, being as it is a Chelek Chelekah and Musha Shenatzmas. Therefore the Nefesh is able to come to Shoyiv even after having had Rotzei B'Tfilo, to the point that the Odom doesn't feel any Manucha B'Nafshoi Kol Hayoim, unless he will be involved with Inyan in Limud HaTorah or Mitzvahs B'Poyel, and particularly the Mitzvah from Stocker in Yonim of that nature, Avodah B'Poyel B'Gashmiyas, and to bring through that, knowing as he does through that he's Heilig B'Dachei HaTorah Mitzvah Dachei Hashem, bringing down the Gili of Atzmas Seif Lamata of Teicha Oilon. And that will cause him a feeling of Manucha, or feeling upon him of satisfaction of the unrest in his soul. However, we saw that all that is mitzad the nefesh itself, not just purely because of the rotzei that he had in tefillah, and being as it is mitzad the maila of the neshama, then it's also by beetle, and like we saw by nova, by shiflets, by inyan shal ayin or ma, by etzem nishmosei. It's not a inyan for yesh, the metzias chas v'shalom. However, we saw that was the neshama how it is mitzad atzma. Therefore, it wasn't a Veda which was complete giving away of the self entirely, even though it involves the inyan of bittul to the kavanah ha'elyoina. And bittul to the kavanah ha'elyoina for sure means not involved in inyanim which are b'chinas yeshu matziyah. And he made that point that b'shas atfilah he himself knows that if it's a rotzei ba'av of a year, then it has a certain trace of chimoy and atzmoy. It's a certain inyan of his own thirst for elikus. V'ilu kol hayoim, v'bitl v'shiflas, he's involved in Avedas dira b'tatoinim. However, that's mitzad the maila ad neshama mitzad atzma. However, we saw there was another oifen, and that was derech kabbalah seil malchus shomayim. And we saw that the inyan from kabbalah seil malchus shomayim is also mitzad the bitl b'etzem of a neshama to elikus. And therefore we saw that the kabbalah seil amitis is only by yidden and not by goyim. And it's also a inyan which comes through the rotzei b'tfilah, but we saw that it had a different manner and a different, as it were, form or shape. And that's what we're holding a kufnun base right near the bottom, the b'shiflus hanal, meaning the shiflus atzmiyas, which is in the odom mitzad atzmoy and becomes mizgale after the rotzei b'tfilah. Harizem mitzad shehu b'chinas ayinu ma b'etzem. That's what a neshama is. A neshama elokis is in a state of self-nullification, ayin uma, the inyan from bittul, in its very self. V'lochein lo yimotze noichem lanafshe, or lo yimta noichem lanafshe, is not able to find rest. Ki'im, like we saw before, the Rabbi said he's already told you that, like we saw in Limud HaTorah, v'ki'im mitzvahs ma'asiyah. Ubekabbalah seil malchus shomayim, it's who mitzad shenosun umosur laHashem. It's because he's given away and literally passed over Mosur. He's given away to Hashem. And therefore he doesn't have any Matthias of his own whatsoever. Meaning that Kabbalah Seil means that you've given yourself away to Elikus. In the previous Inyan, he gave his Rotzen to Inyan Elikus, which are Mitzad Kavona. However, that's the characteristic of the Neshama, Mitzad Atzmi, being as it is Mushra in Atzmas, and we saw that in Atzmas the Shorish Atzmi or the Kavana Elyoina was Davke Dira B'Tatoinim, Davke Shoiv, and therefore the Neshama feels its Shorish, and therefore it wants and is prepared and yearns for the whole day the opportunity of Shoiv. And Davke Yerida Lamata Dira B'Tatoinim. However, we saw that was Mitzad the Maila of the Neshama on its own. And that's revealed through the Aveda B'Shas HaTfilah. Kabbalah Seil means that you've taken yourself and you've given yourself away to Elikus. So, Eina Hanami, that's also assisted by the fact that your Neshama has that Maila which we mentioned, that it's Mushras in Atmas Ein Tzei. But it's a deliberate act, Kabbalah Seil. In the previous case, you're just, as it were, using the tchuna, the characteristic atzmi of the neshama. Here, it's a deliberate act where you've said, I have no part in my own Matthias whatsoever. I've taken it all and I've given it all away to your Rotzen Kaviyocho. And therefore, he's given away entirely from his own self. He doesn't have any Matthias in his own self whatsoever, because whatever might have been for him, he's given it all away to the Eibishter. So in the previous case, he's also not looking for his own benefit to bask in the sun, or some looking to take a religious experience, as they call it. He's also Anova, Vishiflas, Ayin, Uma, all those big miters, but to a certain extent, that's the way Neshama does things. There, he feels comfortable in the bittul and the shiflas. Kabbalah Seil means you don't have anything for yourself. Umishum zeh, yotze me'oid mashu rotzen ha'elyon, v'loi mashu rotzen atzmei. And therefore, all he wants is only what the Eibishter wants. He doesn't have any interest in his own rotzen. In the previous case, you can't say he doesn't have any interest in his own rotzen. He does, because that's the rotzen of the Nefesh Elokis. It just so happens it's on the right track. It's the right rotzen. It's the right attitude. So, how would you say the man has a certain idea and a certain feeling that he's in the right way? He's doing what the Neshama wants him to do. Of in Kabbalah Seil, he said he doesn't have any desire for his own benefit or for his own comfort or for anything. He's given it all away entirely for the Eibishter. Like the famous expression, all for the boss. It's everything's been given away. He said that's why he won't find any rest either. He for sure is not going to find any rest just in Ava and Dveikis, just in, how do you call it, Tzuvtam and enthusiasm and cleavage Delakus. He's not going to find rest in that. Why? Shazeu is pashtus rotzen atzmei, because that's just the derivation and the expression of his own will. In other words, what could be better than to have love of Hashem and to be dovuk in here? And so he knows that that's only his rotzen. That's what he would like to have, and that's what they call in Yiddish a gishmak. What a gishmak means, a ishpashtus. Ishpashtus is a certain expansion of the self, a certain fulfillment, as you might say. So therefore he doesn't want that, because he's given himself away altogether. Anything which may have to do with the fulfillment of his own intentions, or his own feelings, or his own will, he's given that all away. Only in this will his soul find any comfort. When he'll be doing mitzvahs or learning Torah in a way that it will be deriving and bringing down into derivation the rotzen of the Eibishter. Why? Because that's the emes rotzen of the Eibishter. And that's why he wants it, and that's why he's got a gishmach and a feeling of rest and fulfillment when he does the inyanim of dira b'tatoinim, because he knows that that's the emes rotzen of the Eibusha, and his whole he's devoted his whole life only to that was the rotzen of the Eibusha. Rotzen Havaya, that's what interests him. Anything may have to do with himself, he said, I'm not here. I didn't come here to look after my own inyanim. Is therefore he has the satisfaction only because he knows that that's the emes kavanah of the Eibusha. So that was a very fascinating thing. Ubedabrei b'divrei Torah eino rak k'moi kli ledaber ledvar Hashem shemedaber b'fiv b'mikrois or b'mishnayos, whatever you want. in Chumash or in Mishnayos or Gemara, where's the will? Yeah, he'll talk about it, but he only talks about it because that's the emes gilu rotzen Hashem is Torah, and therefore he's only like kli ledaber. He's just a vessel to give it over. He doesn't mix himself into it at all, and therefore you can rely that most of what he will tell you, if not 90% of it, is in effect genuine divrei Torah, because he doesn't mix his own self in. He only wants it should be Gili of the Eibusha's rotzen, and he just happens to be a vessel in which that Gili of whatever it may be, or that Pirush or that Inyan, whether it be in Chumash or in Torah should be al peh, Mishnayos. We can say why he mentions Dafki the Mishnayos, because those are things you can. It's easy to chazar bal peh, as well known. Mishnayos are sort of things that people remember them by memory, and therefore they can even say them over. It's like a kli to give over, even if you're in the street or in your business or ka'etzah. So he does that not because he wants to have something to do, and why not have to do something good, but he does it because he realizes that that's his inyan to reveal divrei Torah into the world. And therefore he said that he does it. He's completely bottled. He's given everything away, and therefore he's bottled within his own self. And therefore he sees himself only as a vessel to give over the divine inyan. And that's the emes inyan k'mavur, and it's brought down in the famous Maimah the Alter Rebbe in Torah in Pashi Yisrael. Over there, the Divrei Amasu, Vayi b'chodesh hashlishi, is that doesn't be'echad lachodesh. When the Yidden came into Midbar Sinai, that the Yidden reached Midbar Sinai, the famous Maimah there from the Alter Rebbe, what he's masbir, that how come that we find in the Gemara and in the Mishnayos, so we mentioned Divrei Torah, what they have, Mamish Torah, they become part of the Torah, which is revealed to the whole world, and to Klal Yisrael, and we mention people's names, Omar Rabbi Pliny, and Rabbi Pliny said this, and Rabbi Pliny had to say this. What does it matter who said it? I mean, was it Rabbi Pliny? The Eibusha this gesagt. Was it Rabbi Pliny? Yeah. How do we mention B'Klal in all the Gemara? I mean, we mention who said it, and it's a whole big Indian that this one was a Talmud by that one. And the figures are of important reference, even to the point that there's certain general rules. That a Tana is able to say it this way, and an Amora can't say beyond a certain limitation. There's all sorts of different laws and halachas. Beneged to the Gilu, Torah should be al peh. So, Frek the Alter Rebbe, why should Omer Pliny, Omer Rebbe Pliny? So the Alter Rebbe said that because they were so botel, and they saw themselves only as a kli l'rotzen havaya, and their inyan was only to give over the inyan k'moshehu b'emes b'sherish ha'torah in atzm saying tzei. Therefore we mention them because they saw themselves only as a kli, and therefore that kli is important because we can learn certain, like we said, certain halachas, but negate to who they were, who was a Talmud and who was earlier and who was later, because that has certain references to the oifen of the Gili of Torah Shabbat Peh, and we mention their names because they are completely and utterly botel, and that when we say Omer Reb Meir, Omer Rabbi Yehuda, Omer Kach, then what it really means is the Eibusha through Rabbi Yehuda. That's what he said, that the Gemara brings him a sect aid of it. In a famous piece over there, but again to Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel, But the Gemara says that Eilu va'Eilu Divrei Elokim Chayim, the both of them are mamish Gilui Elokus. Like the Alter Rebbe brings in Tanya in the introduction, in the Hakdama Samalaki. But the Alter Rebbe brings it Im Kain, if it's all Elokim Chaim, it was if it's every Beis Hillel and every Beis Shammai. So he said it because they had a certain Shorish Lamaila in Olam HaAtzilas that their Neshamas were kach v'kach. That the father, he became a Kli. Mitzad the fact that they were able to bring their Shorish and Neshama Mish Lamata, mitzad the Goydel Habitul Shalehem. And therefore the Torah just went through them like a Kli, but it was had to Beis Shammai a certain Gil Elikus, Mi Kalim Datzilas Bechinas HaGvureis, and in Beis Shammai Beis Hillel ben get in Chasodim, and he brings a Paris to Alter Rebbe in the Hakdama HaMalakit. And then we always say that some we paskin according to Beis Hillel, and not according to Beis Shammai, mitzad HaKlal, mitzad certain laws, and in Yonim v'halachas v'chulu. But that doesn't mean to say that what Beis Shammai said doesn't have a mokim in Elokus. Just that in order to paskin the halacha l'mais, we have to go even higher, but not the Eilu va'Eilu Divrei Elokim Chayim. No, it's brought down that the Indian for the halacha is Dafke Vashem Imoy. It's written by David HaMelech that the Eibishter was with him, Vashem Imoy. Zok the Gemara in Sanhedrin, Malamed Shehalocha Kemoisei B'chol Mokim. That wherever he paskin the halacha is given as a via. Because Hashem Imoy, that's even higher than the different the Shem Elokim. That's an even higher shorish, which brings to the Gilui halacha of Einochanami Divrei Beis Shammai still remain a portion of Torah. Eilu v'Eilu Divrei Elokim. Yeah, Chayim it's meant it does Elokim, it does Hashem Havaya. Of it's all Elokim.
But we sit in Vaishlach, there's a little bit of Pasulas mixed in. We sit in the Maimer Vaishlach, there's a little bit of Pasulas mixed in the Gemara. So
that's Einochanami. That's a Maisa. That's mitzad the Golos, mitzad the Yerida after the Chetei Tadas. But that doesn't mean to say that the Etzem Inyan, what they said, is not an Inyan Eloki. There can be a certain Helam Vehester on the Kavanah. That's what he said, because of that, also became the Inyan for Machlekes. But the Inyan for Machlekes was after Beis Shammai, so Achareihem, or you Ma'abim, but Machlekes B'Yisrael. That's the Gemara Sekta Beitza, the Gemara brings out in Beitza. There was Dafke after the Talmudim Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai. But saying Nachanami, that's a Helam Vester, but not that the Etzem Gilui Bishmon is Elokus. But those are the Helam Vester which came mitzad the Chet and mitzad the Golus. Therefore, we as learners of the Torah, we have to be Mishager, but the Yinifan Yagir, that's what he put down. After through the Yagir, you can clarify and you can remove that Helam Vester of the Klippa. Even though a Kamur, it's only a Klippa Daka. It follows that I meant what he's devoted, BMS, the need to a certain extent, as that's chuz. He's just a kli ladaba. He just gives over. He's not really mixing himself in. He doesn't really say anything. He gives over the inyanim the way he heard them, and like this given by the Hasidim of the Mittler Rebbe. It's one on that their whole inyan was to chazer over the Maimonim. The Mivtzoim, they had to chazer these huge Maimonim with the Mittler Rebbe. So if you were a proper chassid that you wanted to do Mivtzoim, then wherever you went, and were on your way back home, once you got home, you went to visit, then you had to say over a mime of the Mittler Rebbe, Baal Peh. You had to say it out. But I say we don't have any bias for that particular and everybody looks a certain blank curiosity at me. But I say given the Zah. And then there was a famous chassid, that he complained to the Mittler Rebbe that he knew how to do it very well. He used to chazer the Maimonim very well. That's the whole Indian Jews brought up, and he got a certain he used to feel good from chazering the Maimonim at the fire. He said to the Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, was the Mittler Rebbe. He said to the Mittler Rebbe that he would like to stop because he feels important. He feels he's doing a good job. And so the Mittler Rebbe said to him, "Von dir soll werden a Zibele." Aber Chassidus aus the Chazan, you know, you guys heard the Maharaj. That you should become an onion. That's in Yiddish. You want to say to somebody, you just become an onion, but you keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, von dir soll werden a Chibale. That's a statement in Yiddish. It's an old Imra. And Chassidus said, the Mittler Rebbe said, we don't care about you, you can become an onion. He said, the main thing is, you have to give over Divrei Chassidus. And the Rebbe's got a whole view of that. The Rebbe Melech Mashiach never left anything untouched. There's nothing in the whole of Babich that the Rebbe Melech Mashiach didn't touch and give a view on a husband. So he said, why did he use the expression von dir soll werden a Chibule? Why did he use the expression onion davka? No, it doesn't bother anybody particularly. I would have thought
I remember Rabbi Benoni mentioned.
He did? No. So what?
He said an onion is something sour. It's bitter. It's something bitter, but when you put it in a salad, it becomes good.
Yeah.
He added it's something bitter. Something. He said it's something bitter, but it's actually something good.
I'm sure the Middle Rebbe didn't say that.
Okay, maybe.
The Middle Rebbe, he didn't even know. The Middle Rebbe didn't know the difference from one coin to another, from one star to another. He didn't know what they were. As he would know, a salad is better if it's got a bit of onion. Didn't know a bit of. I learned that. Maybe. That's not the word. What he said was that Al Pidin, you guys will learn your day. We're going to you guys here. You learn in the Shmicha. So you should know that onion is what's called a Dova Hamamid. Because an onion is sharp. It's got the sharp thing, that if you put it into a thing which has got, and we're worried about that thing giving its taste into another thing, then normally you have to have what we call 60 parts against in the other thing, connected the taste which is going in. And then it can become bottle. But if you've got an onion in the side and that's going into the tarivas, so then you can have a lot more than 60 and it won't become botel, because that's what we call Dova HaMamid. It's like it strengthens and gives taste to the whole thing. It gives taste to the whole tarivas. So it's not enough just to have 60 against the onion or whatever it is that you bothered. You have to have 200 or something. Can you get the whole tarivas? Or it could be that it even doesn't become bottle b'klal. It can't be mevatlet, because our onion is very, very sharp and it gives taste. If a milah doesn't become bottle, adover shekeneged lo yachol levatel it. That's what the Mittler Rebbe meant. That, according to the Rebbe, that's what's called the inifan adover hamamid ein a bottle. That's what he meant. The Rebbe said that's what he meant. You should become a tzibuleh. In other words, you might have a bit of yeshiv, but you're putting a tam into the whole thing that it can never become botel. You just got to keep going. The touch it keneged, the oilam can't be made a master of chassidus if it's being said in the right way, even if it's a little bit of yeshiv. It's a dova hamamid, and therefore you should be an onion. That's what the Rebbe said. Kacha Rebbe Hamamid. That's a pretty gesagt. Dova nifla. So it just shows you everything that the Rebbeim said. Betachlis hadiktuv. They didn't. So when she saw cornish, that didn't hang together. They didn't have a whole sort of a beer. Like the Rebbe by the dollars. People there's a boom. The next please boom. There's all these amazing remarks that just brought changes in the world. People, just their lives got older and who knows what. Anyway, yesh lahari b'kol hadvarim ha'elu, since we have a certain responsibility to get ahead in the text, yesh lahari mochim seh al chopanim. So, comes along the Rebbe, and he said, Kabbalah Seil, it does a bitul ha'amiti bi'atzma, he's given away completely, and therefore he says he's just a kli. But that's also what we find, one of the famous Mishalim that's brought in many places in Siddur, for the Aveda of Chassidus Beklal, is the concept of a soldier, because a soldier is also a person that he's given away his whole being. He has no personal being of his own anymore. He's given it away entirely to the task and to those in charge of him, and he doesn't have any Matthias Le'atzmei Klau. Therefore, if you ask him, what are you doing around? He said, what am I doing? I don't do anything, I just do, I just do, I'm just a kli to carry out what's got to be done. And that's a emes chayal. Somebody who thinks otherwise, maybe not such a good soul, I don't know. So therefore, well, maybe I do, but anyway, enough of all that. So, but the thing is, what the Rebbe says is, he sees himself only as a kli. וזהו עניין השויב בקיום התורה ומצוות, שזה בכוח עצמי דווקא, ולא מצד היסודות מלמעלה. In other words, that he's given himself away entirely, and that awakes up the emes inyan of the neshama in such a way that has a lasting kiyum, as we'll soon see in a second. And that's not mitzad an awakening milmaila. Kabbalah Seil is not you being prompted to into that, but you prompt yourself. In other words, the Kabbalah Seil is that you offer yourself into the inyan, not that you've been aroused milmaila, which means that you don't really belong there, as it were. You do. You're there more than what others were, but you didn't really get there because you were planted there. You literally, offered yourself over completely to the inyan. It says that this is also the reason להכריח את עצמי בעסק התורה וקיום המצוות גם כשאין לו רוצן וחשק בזה. Oh, this may be good for some of you guys. Yeah, the Rebbe said that that's the reason why it's possible a person has the ability to force himself into learning Torah and keeping mitzvahs, even if he doesn't have any rotzen and burning desire, but he has harege, we have zman hahu, nonetheless he can force himself. And remember that's in of Seder, getting up and getting cracking and getting into the Seder. He says, I was here and I was there and I couldn't do this and my clock didn't get me up and this didn't work and something else and all some asses and geschäft and I didn't quite make it and I did mean but I didn't really and so on and so forth. And if I said to the Rebbe, no, if you're a Kabbalah Seil mensch and you've given yourself away, it's that Kabbalah Seil, that you no longer are really in the inyan, you're being, as it were, in the inyan, but it's always your having done it, and therefore you can force yourself, even if you didn't feel particular rotzen v'cheshik, another will and geschmack at that particular moment. V'hainu, lefi sheklolos v'amitis ha'aveda b'pina shoiv hu ba'nishoma mitad atzmo davke. Yeah, so he said that's because the close union of shoiv, getting things done, both in Torah and in mitzvahs, well, that's in the koyach of the neshama, in her very essence. Well, we already had before, but he said here the question is, v'ainu mitzad nasinosa lahavaye b'pchinas kabbalah seil malchus shamayim sheyesh b'chol echad v'echad shezeh yesh b'chol echad v'echad mitzad etzem nish. In other words, the difference here is not just purely mitzad the neshama. We already had that before. What sort of avodah? Also a good avodah. Over here, he's given himself away. He's devoted himself in such a way that he has no own will or own desire, and therefore, if he says, "Listen, we've got to do this," since he doesn't really exist anymore in himself, then it just gets done, even though he may not have felt a human attraction to it at that time. But since it's got to get done, it just gets done because he's given himself away to the Eibishter, and everybody can do that. Mitzad the etzemane shoma ulazois, and therefore yochel hachriach es atzmi lidei aveda b'foyal. Therefore, he can force himself and oblige himself with compulsion almost to come to aveda b'foyal, meaning in action, not just thinking about it, not just having good ideas, but mamish b'foyal. So Kumta is that the Maila that we're picturing and building here, this whole Svara, is not being in your own Rishus anymore, being in the Rishus of the Eibishter and in the Rishus of the Torah and the Avodah itself, And therefore, it's possible to make these things work because you've given yourself away, and that own inyan, which may be the hesitation or the feeling of not motivation at that moment, doesn't really have any place. It can be brushed aside because you've no longer allowed things of that nature to have any control. Says the truth of the matter is, that's all in Shoy. He said, he said, even in the Rotzei more, if we go back now to the Avodas HaTfilah, where that was concerned with his boinenus, a reflection, in order to arouse Ahavo V'yira, or will they bring more to the concept of Rotzei? In miyageya es atzmei lovei mitzad atzmei lidei aveda zu b'li eseres milmayla v'gam shemoichi v'libe atumim, even if he's moich and how do you call it, verstopped. Atumim in Yiddish means verstopped, they're sort of blocked, and he doesn't feel any particular interest or motivation. Then he obliges himself and forces himself, and he looks for all sorts of ideas or advice that he should feel more open and more promoted mitzad his mind and his heart to the union, and to struggle very hard in reflection, vihamokas hadas, and deepening his whole commitment, deepening his whole self and his whole devotion to that is boniness. Leo is nirgash, in order that should be able to feel ho'inyan o'elaki benafshoy, that he should be able to feel it, ulis poil bi'ava v'yira, and that he should be able to be affected emotionally by ava v'yira, in a kozer, all of that, when he does it on his own and he forces himself, not mitzad hiseirus from above, it's very dear, and the Eibishter sees that as a very precious matter. But in addition to that, it has a much deeper effect in his neshama. That the Ava and the Yira should be more with a emissar self-nullification, but Pnimi is kiyum benafshi, that the whole Rotzei should mean more and should be a more lasting thing. Ukasher nizbor liil diba maskov vayigash elov. Well, that was an earlier mimer here in this whole section. The Ava v'yir shabo al yedei yegia davke hi ikar ha'avodah. Shehi b'pchinas kiyum. It's the ikar avodah because it's a lasting matter. Now what does he mean by that? If you look up over there, you'll see that the Rebbe talks there, he talks in several Maimah. He talks in the Maimah for Chanukah, and the Maimah for Yigash, and the Maimah for after that in Pasha Vayichi, v'chulu. The Rebbe says that there's every day and regularly there's a big awakening, Mumayla, given to the Neshamas Lamata. And that's the Avodah of Aaron, Kohen Gadol, that he used to light the neros in the Mikdash, in the Mishkan, in the sanctuary. So later on, in generations after that, in the Beis HaMikdash, it does not be Dafke the Kohen Gadol. It can be an ordinary Kohen. But Al Chaponim, the Inyan from Kohen Gadol was like he was the Shurish and the one who began the whole thing. And the lighting of the lights is this gilui of an awakening, Milmaila, to all the Neshamas, what the lights are the Neshamas, that everybody feels this tremendous desire to give away all the Narishkeiten and all the Shtusim and Havolim of this world, and to become involved in Avodas Hashem, and to commit himself, and to daven b'kavon, to try and wake up Ava v'yira, and even to feel momentarily Ava to Hashem, and not stam Ava, but very powerful Ava. Well, that all comes Milmaila, and it comes regularly. And we find that also the Alter Rebbe teaches it in Pasha Vayetze. over there in Torah. The Alter Rebbe also touches on the pasuk Vayashkem. It's also mentioned here. Vayashkem Lovon, but that Lovon got up early in the morning, as Lovon is indicatory, oddly enough, of a very high oil, which is called the high whiteness, Leven. Well, this is this awakening of Vav in the morning. So, I read what the Alter Rebbe brings over there. That's the awakening of Vav. That's all Milmaila. Yeah. So, what the Rebbe points out over there in this Maimah Diba Amasu Vayigash, that's tremendously powerful feeling, and it's real because it comes from the Eibishter, but it can just pass away very quickly. It can be there, and it can bring to an enthused reaction when you say, "Oh yeah," but after a short period, it could be that he loses it altogether, and he's not sensitive anymore to that tremendous awakening. Now, this is also brought down in Likutei Torah in the famous Maimah of this week's Parsha. It's very interesting. We always seem to meet up somewhere along the line, something to do with this week's Parsha, in Parsha Vayikra. The Alter Rebbe brings over there the famous Maimah, Odom ki yakriv mikem korban. You're all familiar with it's brought down in the Basi Lagani, if you're not familiar with Likutei Torah. But the Rebbe brings down that Odom ki yakriv, when the Eibusha brings a person near to those mikem korban, it has to be from you. It's got to come from you, the whole korban. So the Alter Rebbe teaches on the Odom refers to the Eibusha, oddly enough. Odom ki yakriv. When the Eibusha above will bring you near, then mikem, he will bring you near, and you'll feel very near. But it's got to come from you. Ultimately, in order to be an emes korban, it has to come mikem. It's got to come from yourself. And I remember that's Beduk, the principle over there that the Alter Rebbe says, because after a while the Odom ki yakriv can pass away. You don't feel it anymore. Why? Because it's, they say in Yiddish, nish kein eigene Sach. It's not your own thing. All things which are going to be lasting and meaningful have got to be your own thing. That's the way the Eibusha wanted it. That's the way it's meant to be. It's got to become your inyan. If it becomes your inyan, then there's a hope that it's going to last and even grow and become more meaningful, etc. But if it's just purely milmaila and you didn't work at it and you didn't make kelim for it, then it's not really the ultimate nachas ruach of the Eibusha. It's not really what he meant. He only meant that as to get you moving and to make you realize that you've got to do something. That's what the Rebbe says here. That arousal mitad milmaila is a tremendous thing. But he said the ikka is when it comes mitad your own avoda, or then it's kiyum benafsha yoisa. Then it remains and it's lasting and it keeps going and can even increase within yourself, even though it's got all the limitations of a limited nivra, how do you call it, a limited little created being. But since he made his own effort, then that's yoko b'yeza. It's tremendously precious to the Eibusha, and it has the effect of being much more lasting. And therefore it's a much more pnimistic thing. The beetle is much more pnimi, and it lasts than if it came mitzad the Yisuras mil maila. The ava v'yira shabo alidei yagia davke he ikar ha'avoida. Or that's the ikar avoida. Shehi b'chinas kiyum, and it's lasting, because when it comes to milmaila, that's not the ikar avoida. It didn't come from you. You didn't do anything. The Eibusha gave it to you, and therefore it doesn't last. Well, oddly enough, and that's the amazing. Indian Lachori, you might have thought exactly, something came from the Eibusha should last. And who are you? You're just a little finite creature. Something that you do, that's going to be lasting. What can we do? That's what the Eibusha wants. How do you say it? He wants a dafke there. As it brought down in the Zohar Kodesh, he wants dafke yor tzibrochen kelim. He doesn't want the beautiful kelim that he's got below the Eibusha. He wants the little tzibrochen kelim of the mensch, and that he should make an effort. But then the Eibusha has the emes nachas, ruach. And the Father said the Rebbe does it a pshat that it's much more lasting and it has much more kiyum, and that's ikar ha'avoda. That is called the effort and service of Hashem. So he said, "Hine b'yesahu." That is much more kasher miyageya satzmei gam liftach lipo. Because you can tell him, well, that's only somebody whose heart is open to it. And then he makes a tremendous effort. So the Rebbe said, no, everything can be your own gear, even just to get involved and to have an open heart to the matter. Also, that can be your own work. And that's possible also. Everything. In other words, even that you'll be just in some way open to the matter, that's also your own effort. Beprinus pnimius yoiser or poil harbe yoiser ben nefesh. It has a much more lasting Indian in the soul, and that's what we saw, that even if you're not promoted or motivated, you can force yourself to be motivated. And so we see here that's both in the shoiv and in the chiddush is, even the rotzoi, you can force yourself to be stirred and awakened, to have the whole different rotzoi between to have the whole different half of a year, and then it's much more lasting, much more permanent, because that's what the Eibishter wants. He wants dafki your effort, not he brings you belavachim the infant Yisrael mil maila. How much more you're going to get to the shoiv and the etzim shoiv, going back into the world, even though the mensch may not feel promoted and he may not feel that he's able to, if he just takes on himself a firm decision and a firm devotion of himself, without finding all sorts of terutzim for himself, but he gives himself over to Bepashtes, then he can reach much emersa and higher lasting madregas than if it even would have been mitzad the Eibishter. And that's the big chiddush. And it's a pele of kahu ha'inyan.
So then, what good is this Osiris to me? What good is this Osiris to me that comes from Hashem if basically...
Because if you didn't have that, then you could be just completely on the ground. You're completely out of it. But the Eibishter sends it to you in order to prompt you and to wake you up. And what you got to do is, when you get that Osiris, then you got to realize that if you want it to be lasting and to be pnimiyah and to be the way Hashem really wanted it, then you got to get working.
So that means that this Osiris, even after a person gets this Osiris, this person could still have no feeling. And
Yeah. He can lose it. It's put down in that Maimah over there and in the Likutei Torah, in this week's passage, in the Likutei Torah. The Alter Rebbe said after a short period, you can just get lost altogether. If you don't make vessels for it and you don't get working, then it'll just come down and it'll just pop away.
But if a person gets working on it and uses it to...
Oh yeah, that's what we're saying. The whole idea of the Osiris Mamaila is to make you realize that you've got to get work. You can't just rely on the Osiris. You follow? You can't just ride on the beauty of the Osiris, because it's like waves, it'll just break onto the shore and then flop away. The whole idea is to make you realize that you've got to get moving. And so the Rebbe said, once you do, then it becomes a lasting thing. And it becomes very, as it were, precious to Hashem, because that's what he wanted. That's what he's really after, the whole union. But since this comes as a whole hemshah to what we said before, this is Be'ikah, somebody that he's a Kabbalah Sel type person. Once he's a Kabbalah Sel type person, even though he may have his difficult times where he doesn't feel particularly motivated, but the basis of his whole approach is Kabbalah Sel, then he's not really in his own rishus. You understand? He's not really in his own thing. So he can get moving and he can come to the emersa realization in a more ready way than what somebody was thinking about himself. And that's the Nakuda Adiyinyan. So now he goes on to say, here's a very fascinating Nakuda. This is really mamish a bomber. So he said, V'chein mashikol rotzoi. What we find that every rotzoi yesh acharav shoi. Now when we say every rotzoi, we mean a genuine rotzoi. We don't just mean a little piecework, but how do you call it? A genuine rotzoi, that there comes after it ayinif and shoi. V'hainu gam b'chinas rotzoi hayoyser adyoino, even on a very, very high madrega, b'chinas toikef harotzoi, with a tremendous burning desire to go out to the Eibishter altogether. Harihu achareze b'chinas shoiv. We find that the same person comes back to the Inifan from shoiv, and he comes down. Ukemoy Rabbi Akiva, like we find by Rabbi Akiva, sheniknas b'sholim v'yotzo Ja, Besholem, wenn es Buhr liir, bediba maslu mehr Chanike, Mitzvah Hanicha, וכולו, da rotze hu boivim koze, שיהיה אגרוב שוי. וזהו גם כן בכוח האדם מצד עצמי. So you know the famous story of the four peoples. It's brought down over there, the Gemara Masechta Chagiga. Daf Tes 12 over there, the Gemara brings down that there was the four great Chachamim sheniknasu lapar dates. The Gemara gets onto it over there because it was talking about Elisha ben Avuya, but he was a Tani, so he's even mentioned in Pirkei Ovid. But he, unfortunately, he was Yotze L'Tar B'Sra. He went out to, he left from God, he went out into Achman and Tar B'Sra. So the Gemara is Choyke B'Dorish, how did that happen? How could it happen? I think that. So the Gemara said that B'Yemes, right from the beginning, he had something inside him which was not pure. He had some disagreement with some basic things in Yiddishkeit deep inside him, and therefore eventually he popped out. So after having spoken about him, the Gemara said that there were three other people that he went into a Knisa, into the paradise together with him. And what does it mean, paradise? Into the Inyan from Yediyah Seidah Satorah, into the Pnimiyas, and Seidah Satorah on a very high Madrega. And who were they? There were Ben Azai, Ben Zaima, Elisha ben Avuya, Elisha Acher, as he's called afterwards in the Gemara, and Rabbi Akiva. So it's brought down that Ben Azai Hitzit Umeis. Ben Azai just went into the look, and he passed away. He passed out of his body, his neshama parted from his guf, just like the Bnei Aleph. No, he just went completely. Ben Zaima, different Gersois. Ben Zaima was damaged a bit by the whole thing. Exactly what that means is another mice, but he came out off. All right, it's written that Elisha ben Avuya was porach, he just blew it all together, and he was poirak oil, and he went out to Tar B'Sra, Rachmanin and Klan. And it's written, Rabbi Akiva, Ayil b'sholem v'nofik b'sholem. Or sometimes it's translated into Lashon Kodesh, Nichnas b'sholem v'yotcha b'sholem. So it comes on the Rebbe Nishma Seid, and there's a famous mimer all about this in Tov Reish Mem Tes, a very famous mimer, Pasha Achrei, where he talks about the difference between Toyo and Tikkun. So he brings down the diuk. Why is it written Benegeh to Rabbi Akiva, Nichnas b'sholem v'yotza b'sholem? It should have been written Yotza b'sholem. We're worried about what happened to them. We're not talking about how they went into it. We just say they all went into the paradise. So this one didn't come out. This one came out with a damage. This one came out Rachmanin the wrong way. Rabbi Akiva, Nafak b'sholem, he came out peacefully. Why do we say Niknas b'sholem v'yotza b'sholem? The going in wasn't really the problem. The coming out was the problem. Why is it written Ayil b'sholem v'nofik b'sholem? So the Rebbe over there says, the Rebbe Rashab writes over there, Bariches, that Rabbi Akiva, the whole Ike of Rabbi Akiva was Kabbalah Seo to Ravana Amitiyas, the Bria and the Torah according to the Eibishter. And therefore we find that Rabbi Akiva, he was the Shurish of the whole Torah Shabbal Peh. The very fascinating thing that Rabbi Akiva was really, he was about Teshuvah. I mean, everybody knows the famous story. On Noch Mer van dem, he was a Ben Geri. His father was a Ger Tzedek. And Rabbi Akiva came from how do you call it, from the outside. He was like from the how do you call it, the Yafutza Mayan Selcha Chutza. He was how the whole Indian from Chutza brought the Mayanas going out. Chutza brought in somebody. And like the famous story that he only began learning when he was 40 years old, etc. etc. The famous deal was there. The people come and say, oh, how can I do this? I'm just an old slipper, I'm about Chubanik, I can't do it, I can't something kills. So we see Rabbi Akiva, give a quote, what do you achieve? Whatever the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, the Gemara says that in Emerson, the whole Torah Shabbal Peh, goes through Rabbi Akiva. Even though the Mishnayos were written by Rabbi Yehuda Anosi, and the Brises of Rabbi Chia, of Rabbi Ishia, and others, they gathered together all the Brises and the Toseftas and other things from other Tanoim which I mentioned over there. And then all of a sudden the Gemara says, Avulchurhu aliba de Rabbi Akiva itma. That all of them were said aliba de Rabbi Akiva. They all had to go for Rabbi Akiva, and he literally gave his, what you might call his hechsher, his stamp on the whole Torah Sheba'al Peh, even the Brises and the Toseftas. So just imagine the amount of material. I mean, it's almost inhuman amount of material, and it all went through Rabbi Akiva. So you could when he started Rabbi, and into the bargain, he was about to Shiva, but the guns Arichas Ha'inyan. So we see from that Rabbi Akiva, he knew the whole Tachlis HaKavonav and the guns of Torah. Everything was him. The Rebbe says over there, Nichnas B'Sholem means that Rabbi Akiva, when he went into a Rotza, he knew what he was doing, even when he went into the Rotza. In other words, that he went into the Rotza already with a condition that he would come out again b'shoiv. He just make shoiv and just start off at the beginning, be a kabbalah, only kafati. What do you need the whole Rotza? No, because even in Tikkun, even in Avodas HaTikkun, not in Olam HaTohu. Now, I feel in Tikkun, you need a Rotza, because if you don't have Rotza, you don't have the desire and the actual having become close, then you don't have the time. Ultimately it becomes dry, the whole shay. In order that should be the emes of chayas of being devoted to the emes, you got to want to be with him. Well, that's the inyan of the inyan of Rotza. So that's how Rabbi Akiva knew what he was doing. Bisman, that he went into a Rotza. And he went into very high that's brought that in the Rebbe brings in the famous Maimondor. Things that show Rabbi Akiva was also, I mentioned, he gave away everything. He just threw everything to the Eibishter. Well, that was the from Rotze. Afal became, when he did that, he had in mind that he was going to come back by Shoiv. In other words, that even in the Knisa and the Tuika for the Rotze, he was adequate. His hand was on the steering wheel, Rabbi Akiva. His foot was on the brakes, or whatever you have to use the famous expressions. The Rabbi Akiva knew when he went in what he was really doing. In other words, that he was in control of the whole inyan mitchila v'ad ad soif, because he knew that was the emes kavana of the Eibishter. So the Rebbe says over there in that mind, and here's the pitch line. How can a man do that? I mean, that's living on two extremities. Either Zoe or the Zoe. And you go into a Rotze, you just forget the Bnei Aaron, Ben Azai, Shimon Ben Azai. That's written. The Gemara brings that Shimon Ben Azai, when he was at Tiberia, B'Shuk Shel Tiberia, the Kol Chachma Yisrael, Keneg Dehoyo Keklipus Hashum. The Gemara says all the other Chachamim against Shimon Ben Azai were like the skin of the garlic, Yeah, so I mean, he was unbelievable, Shimon Ben Azai. Man, and the Medrash is about it. State in the Medrash, Vayikra Rabbah, state that when Rabbi Shimon Ben Azai was learning that there used to be fire. Mamish should it. So Kibran picked to see Rabbi Yonasan Ben Uzziah. I don't know if there's any literatures at that time when they asked to Shaila that maybe he burned something when he's learning, that maybe they have to pay. But anyway, Rabbi Shimon Ben Azai used to be surrounded by fire. These are the matter. Yet nonetheless, he was like the Bnei Aaron. He went into the Rotze, he couldn't hold. So I mean, we don't know what that is. I mean, the Yerachim HaKodesh says that normal people have no idea what it is. That's what the Yerachim HaKodesh taught. To want to go in, Ad Kedei Kach, into Elikus, and just go and you can never come back, that's something that Roi B'nai Adam Ein Lechush B'zeh. But nonetheless, it is Azam in Tzotah. And Shimon Ben Azai, he was Azam Neshama. And the Father Rebbe says he was a Neshama to Toyah. B'nai Lam Toyah. But the Yiniv Rabbi Akiva is that Nichnas, at the moment he went in, he already had the brakes on. When he went in, he already knew that the whole Kavanah was eventually to come back. But you have to go up in order to come back in the right way. You have to kiruv, the gishmak in Elikus, that brings you near. Therefore, you feel what is the kavanah. You have a different feeling for the whole kavanah. Then you're able to come down. But that's got to be because right from the very beginning, you were given over to the nakid. And the Rebbe writes over there in Samech Vav, you look it up, he writes over there, that's mitzad, and he doesn't just use the word Kabbalah Seil, he said, Zehu mitzad hanoches atzmusai beyoyser. He said, because peoples, like Rabbi Akiva, are people that they've given themselves away. Hanoches atzmusai. Hanoches atzmusai means you've taken yourself and you've laid it aside. In other words, not thinking of yourself whatsoever, taking all your own inyonim and saying, put them aside. You know how they call it? Move it off the table. Hanachat atzmuto. Hanachat atzmuto. And that's the secret of Kabbalah Seil. Kabbalah Seil, pnimius of Kabbalah Seil. And the etzim of Kabbalah is hanachas atzmuto. Not just that you don't let yourself get too involved here, you put yourself out of the picture. All you say is, Rabbeinu Shalom, what do you want? Who's your dain kavana? Here we are. I was dain matun. The main thing is we're going to do what you want. The whole thing is we're going to make the dira. And in fact, that's the quetch. Hanoches hatzmusa is the trick. Rabbi Akiva said, I've already, a long time ago, I don't have my own Indian here in interest. I want to go into a rotzi, but I want to go into a rotzi also mitzad kavana aliyena. Right from the very beginning, I'm going into a rotzi because I don't exist. I don't say what I need a rotzi. Lama? Because that rotzi will add into the ultimate aveda, which I got to do. And therefore I want a rotzi. That'll give the Yemes a time and the Yemes a gishmak. And what I got to do later. And if I want a rot, if I'm not supposed to will a rot, and he rot, doesn't pshat, hanochas atzmusi, those are the pnimiyas of this whole Indian here. He says that the harotze, who ba'ifin kozeh, it's in this way, sheyiyeh acharav shu. And the Rebbe writes over there, that even the Bnei Aaron didn't know that trick. I mean, the Bnei Aaron, the sons of Aaron, they didn't know that. They were terribly, tremendously elevated human beings. And even Shimon ben Azai didn't know it. When I say even, because he'd already had all the inyonim, Afal became Hugam, he wasn't able to put that al-bosh into the universe. So I mean, who we to say chas v'shalom that he didn't have Kabbalah Hanochas Atzmusi Amiti. It's from the secrets that are known to the Arabs. We don't know why. There's a certain iskabrus at there. I mean, just imagine this. I mean, we have no idea what it's like, so we can't judge somebody who has a zachukin. He's prepared to let everything go, just go away, and just take out. Kill him to tell his chukin. And therefore we can't judge it. All we can say is that it wasn't the Yemes HaKavanah. Rabbi Akiva had power within himself that he was able to mamish from the beginning that the Rotze was Shiyah Acharov Shu. Amazing, some evil idea. And that's what he calls over there, Hanochas Atzmusi. It's interesting to have the Mitzvah verstandig, the famous story. It's famous, but there was a story. But the Friedrich Rebbe, once after he came to America, once a Yid came up to the Friedrich Rebbe, either by his father's or by some public appearance, the Friedrich Rebbe, and said to him, Rebbe, what is atomim? You people talk about these tmimim, what is atomim? So the Friedrich Rebbe said to him, atomim is hanochas atzmusei. Shalom aleichem, you guys. Nice to meet you all. That's what he said. But the Friedrich Rebbe said that atomim was hanochas atzmusei. The idea of Talchet Tmim is to educate us, to put ourselves aside altogether. And that's what he says here. order mitzad. That's also, in other words, it wasn't Rabbi Akiva did that because he was being held by the Eivishter. He did that mitzad his own koyach. That's the Aveda, the mensch himself. Hine masha rotze u'b'midah u'b'mishkal b'liyiz gabrus yiseidah. That's what the whole rotze is held. It's got the brakes on. It's got a certain limitation and a certain weighing power without a gabrus, without it taking over too much. It would be completely going out. So mitzad klolos habitl. He just calls it klolos habitl. Over there he puts in the keyword. Anochas hatzmuz in the mime over there. Yeah, b'bchinas anochas. Oh, he doesn't mention it. B'chinas anochas hatzmuz. That's a pitch word. He said, this is the klolos habitl mitzad hanochas hatzmuz. In other words, the whole general story of the ganze Bittul from Rabbi Akiva is Hanochas Hatzmos. That's the line. Now he goes on to say a most amazing thing, which we haven't got time to deal with this evening. He goes on to say, really, it's much easier to be in a rota. And it's much easier to say, oh, yes, I'm going to have to do all the high things, and I'm a high man, you can't demand of me to get down here into this world and the whole thing. I'll just be up in my little corner and I'll sit somewhere, they're going to do it. But really, that's easy. You know the famous story, you know how the Baal Shem Tov got the guys and the Tilda, Akiv Yosef Mipalnoah, the famous Talmud, the Tilda he's called. He wrote the Sefer Tilda Akiv Yosef. You know the Baal Shem Tov got him. Because he was a parush. There was a whole big series of them in those days. That he had his own little coat. He had what was called a priest's stibble. They used to have these little. He had a little sort of corner in some base meadows and with a curtain around it, and he wasn't allowed to go in there. And he would just sit there all day with the talis and tefillin and just learn and not eat, not drink, maybe had a little something in the night time to keep himself going. And you weren't allowed to talk with him, and he would do it. That was called the priest's stibble. So one day the Baal Shem Tov heard about him, and he heard this great person does that. So the Baal Shem Tov walks in and pulls the curtain aside and walks in. So all of a sudden he notices the Baal Shem Tov. He looks at him. He didn't talk because it was Tainus Dibur. He had what's called a Tainus Dibur. How he called fasting with speech. So he says, "You're not allowed to be in here." So the Baal Shem Tov, straightened himself up and said, "Oh, this is good. Nice place you got here." Making him signs that he had to clear out of here. He was being mafsik me from learning. Made him a sign. So the Baal Shem Tov said to me, "Tell me," he said, "what's your idea in Gashmir, Panosa, and how your family got what to live from, you have what to live from?" And he got furious, made him signs he's going to drive him out of it. He doesn't stop talking to his Marishkai. So little by little, the Baal Shem Tov got him in. So the Baal Shem Tov said to him, maybe what you should do is give the Eibush the panos. You should see that the Eibush has a bit of panos. So he got absolutely furious. All of a sudden he started thinking, was the Eibush to need to panos? He was afterwards. He was a really learned person. So he thought, this guy's driving me crazy. What does he mean, the Eibush should have panos? So all of a sudden he calmed down from the whole business, and he looked at Baal Shem and said, what do you mean with that? What do you mean? So he said, Panosa. So the Baal Shem Tov said, we say every day in davening, Ato Kodesh, you are completely withdrawn. You're absolutely withdrawn and holy of a Yeshiv. Where do you sit? Where do you actually dwell? Tilos Yisrael. For the praises of the Jewish people. So in the old days there was a saying, they used to use the word Yeshiv. Nowadays you got these koiling geleit. Now they get paid by the koils of Hofer. But in the old days, they used to sit by their shver or by their grandfather or their uncle, and they used to pay him. Panos, and they used to learn Torah. So that was called zitzen. In Yiddish, it was called sitting by your shver. He sits by the shver, or he sits by the father, by the zayda. It was called sitting. And that was meant that that's where you have your parnasa while you're learning. So Baal Shem Tov said, where does the Yevs have his parnasa? Sitzen, Yoishe. Where does the Yevs have, where does he have his curl? Where does he have his parnasa? The Hilo is so, when Yidden sagen, to Hilim, and it's also Kapitel Kilim, and you praise the Yevs, and you know that you're nothing to say, that's the Yevs' parnasa. The Yevs just sits, but that's where he gets his parnasa. So this guy just, I mean, he was clever enough to realize that this is the most unusual thing. He's never heard anything like it before. He didn't know what to say, and he just made him a much less strong sign that he should leave. So the Baal Shem said, okay, good to say that, you know, so I told you what. Okay, and the Baal Shem, you know, straightened himself up, straightened his hat, took his bag or whatever he had, and he left. So in the meantime, you know, the tailor starts singing. David needs parnasa. Sitting there by a capital Tilly from the simple Yidden, you know, what's with my Torah, what's with everything with me, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm so devoted to David. I want to know his Kiddush Torah, and David's parnasa after by somebody who says to heal him, you know, what are you doing? And he got all upset, he couldn't learn anymore, so he ran looking for the Baal Shem Tov, and that's how the whole thing started. Oh, yeah.
I have a question from last year. We said that the R goes down, that the R doesn't want to go down into the Kli, but then it realizes the sharish of the Kli, then it wants to stay with the Kli.
Well, it wants to enter the Kli, yeah.
So it's a level of Yeshus. It's first I want Atzmos, but no, I have to go down. Okay, so he goes down by 4. Then he realizes that that's higher, so it's better for him, so he wants what's better for him.
Yeah, well, I understand what you're saying. In other words, that since he senses that there's something very high there, so then he wants it for himself. Yeah, that's what you're saying?
Yeah, it's kind of.
So if he senses something very high and he wants it for himself, it's right we're back to feeling yourself again.
Yeah.
So the answer is that there are two inyonim. First of all, that what he senses that the higher oil is stuck in the keli, well, that's a tremendous overlooking of the self for the oil. But the oil says he's the one that's high, and he's the gilu mamish from the atzmas, and these kelim are the separate entities. You know, who are they? So when he realizes the unbelievable shurish of the oil, he realizes that shurish says that everything has to be dav kilamata. That's why he wants to have part of it. Not that he just wants for himself, but he wants to be part of what the emissary, what you might call marketplace is. What's the emissary, your readers, as they say in English. What's the emissary? Oh, it's got to be dav kilamata, and therefore he wants it. You understand? Okay. And Zweitens says that it's still very, very difficult for him to form a kesher with the keli, because the keli is mamish hepech his matiyas. Yeah, therefore, he has to become bottled to that. He's got to give himself away entirely. When he gives himself away, and the Kli gives themselves away, then it's like these two kings in front of the emperor, that they become bottled, and then they're both able to join up together. So, from either way you look at it, he's really giving himself away to something much higher.
Can you also say that about the body and the neshama? The body is a higher level than the neshama and the shara?
Yeah, you can. You can say that. Yeah. You definitely can say that. But I'll have to be mavad at another time. Okay? But you can say that. That's be emes nachon. And that's one of the reasons why ultimately the neshama agrees to come lamata. That she realizes the emes shor should go. Yeah. Nachon. Yeah.
But all in all, a person at the end can have Kabbalah Samach Shemayim without having Ratzah.
Well, he can, but then it's what's called dry. It's without chayas, without bren. In order that the Kabbalah self should be more like chayas, you have to have first of all the nearness to the age. In some places, like what I said before, in some places it's apparent that by coming near, then you gain a chush in being so close that then you hear easier what the inyanim have to say. And therefore the oil feels the shorosh of the kli because she's been close to the shorosh. Therefore she's been so close that she has an ability to feel what's in the kli even more than the kli does in its own self. Do you get the point? Thank you, my son. Oh, that's it. That's the emes of Shabbat. Okay, we'll talk about the neshama with the guf. That's got to do with Purim, by the way.
Also when Mashiach comes, right?
Yes, with the Shabbos continuing.
Mashiach comes, the guf will live from the
the neshama is going around looking for the guf. Because the guf is going to give into the neshama things that it couldn't possibly gain on itself.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, state in Ranat, in Yutas Kislev, Ranat. In other words, the neshama is going to run looking for the guf.